Alright, I was sitting here thinking. I'm brewing up some coffee. We're in this air mode here. Well, this is a different chart. This is the demise of humanity through the Abrahamic pantheon, whatever, myth. Alright, so 12 Libra. Let's look at a day here. Let's give us a couple days. This is an 8, October 7th, breaks down to 8. So that's an 8 energy. And then this is a spiritual year. You've got the 4 foundation here. And the communication, the overmind, the spirit of creativity, expression. So it's like a cosmic expression here, this here. A lot of 2s on this chart. Duality, relation. The first relational unification energy. Things are created through that. That's why the numbers are after, represent different energetics. We always settle on base meaning analysis to determine things, but there's all this scale. A square between the moon and Mars. And then there is a trine with the moon and Neptune, and a transformative closing quincunx between Neptune and Mars. In a new phase conjunction with the South Node, close to the Sun. Just coming out of the transformative quincunx with Uranus, so it's like a anointment of change. Alright, so air, particularly Libra, it's in the middle between the currents on the earth and the currents of the heaven and the cosmos. So it scales, has a range. So if you really want to understand Libra, you can look to Gemini. It's micro to macro. This is the process of that spirit, which is informing Gemini in Taurus. Libra being the working Virgoan archetype transformation of Taurus. Routines, habits, the health of the individual is relational to what we do what we're in relation to, who we're in relation with. And at a deeper, more personal level, that's a relationship in the self with your own awareness. What do you value as experience? What's the data told you? Through acquiring your own information. Now, mutable signs are pretty sensitive to energy. So imagine, you have all these senses here in your 12th house. They're informing the mind. You're trying to make sense of all these different things. It's kind of like you're in a room alone, but within yourself you are busy. You're processing experiences or trying to understand things. Then you go outside and you feel the wind and hear the sound and feel the grass and all that, and your mind is taken into that. There's still stuff going on within you, but now it's layered with the world. And all that layering you're taking in, and whatever you haven't used on something you're burning within, you are allowing to settle into these, distill into the emotions here in Cancer. Cancer is informed by Gemini. What does it all mean? What's the first step to understanding what belief is created through your values, through assessment of experiences, analysis? So all signs have wisdom, depth, high intellect, insanity, all this stuff in them. Lila, hey. Hey, come on. She wants to walk. Like that, She sensed this dog. And she went aggro. She doesn't like that dog. So in Gemini, there's all this information out there, but there's all this stuff within you that's trying to get your attention. That's why there's so much stuff out there. We're in relation energetically. We're feeling all these things, sensing all these things. There's all this information input coming into us. There's too much to digest, to understand, to crunch the numbers on, so you have to be surface level and touching things in a way where you're in it, not of it. So you learn how to choose your ignorance wisely. It's like a first step in realizing Tao type awareness. To me, it's a Taurian perspective on this path. Gemini moon is basically like a Taurus. So I've got the Taurus moon, Taurus sun, essentially, because Gemini is second house to the sun, which is the natural Taurian theme. awareness in relation to what that is. So we look at the first transformation of Gemini, which is this depth of emotional experiences, things which can pull someone down. And that's a lot of times part of the flow of the river, which is in possession of the mind, which is the informing spirit through experience in relation to life and the spark. It's brought on through our experiences here in Taurus. You got to feel things to know them. If you read it in a book, there's no life. So we go through the experiences, they settle in that opposition, shadow to Scorpio. And Gemini is the final transformation of the emotional flows in Scorpio, or whatever is in Scorpio, before it's reborn into a new river, a new flow in Cancer. So Libra, to understand it, you just know Gemini is informed by this. Libra is the opposition to the spark of creation, something you're trying to figure out what it is, or the world's trying to figure it out. So we are in relation to experience which informs us, which is a transformation of Libra, I and other kind of thing. The most, not the most, I don't think it's the most flexible, but it's very fast at understanding scale, perspective. Squaring the emotions, there's some kind of strange intellectual expression that can be had in this dynamic with Cancer and Libra. So knowing the depths of the emotional flows, they spark creation, sextiling into the final transformation in Capricorn for Gemini. Capricorn holds form for, it's the division between Libra, Earth, and Aquarius, Pisces, the heavens, essentially. That's the mountain goat thing, climb into the heavens here. You get to the peak and then you graduate into this new expression. Air is we're all in these cycle things, and our own development is in this kind of expression from time to time. So the final transformation of Gemini is through the air's cultivation here to either conform and rise to the height of the limits, or to break through and usher in the actual spirit, the new spirit here with the square to Taurus. Fixed Earth squares to one another to bring it to life. So to affect squares positively, it's like, for Gemini, it's the working transformation through Saturnian type undertakings. Mercury and Saturn over here. So Mercury is balanced here for Saturn to help shape, mold, teach. And the duality with Mercury here is that it teaches itself a lot of times, needs others in the worlds to show and to offer perspective, but until it's digested what it is here, it doesn't tend to last too long in other people's delusions. But it's held by the Capricorn themes, like familial stuff, ancestral things, conformity, societal form. Also liberation for Gemini is through these Aquarian developments, which is a square from Taurus. So cultivating your value. I feel no matter what sign you are, if you're cultivating your value, you're figuring out your ignorance. You're disempowering the delusions of the world, or the illusions, so that you can empower your own delusion. You know, whether you're covered by your own delusions or the illusions of the world doesn't matter, because you shake it off as you follow these impulses in life. Sometimes it's the impulse to conform. Sometimes it's the impulse to liberate or to break out. A lot of transformative energies flowing in this. Sun and moon is like an unconscious energy. You don't necessarily need to do anything in life. A lot of times you can't stop learning. It happens. You can retard it and make decisions that make your life way more difficult than it needs to be, so you can't really learn that well. That can be a Piscean thing here. That's like a first loss in Libra. Stepping into the void with an awareness of truth is what you can make it, but it is limited by your experience. So if you truly want to wear that power, hold that flame, that fire here, carry that through the void, you be tested. So the best way to do that is to cultivate the self in Aries, to hold the sacred, pure expression of who and what you can be. Finding the honor of the self from which to pull, that's that Saturnian energy here in Leo, which to pull Jupiter into form your expansion, your potential, which trines into Sag here. So life is sacred. You can see all these different ways in which we grow in life, live. So for this day, this year, there's that unconscious gnosis, emotional awareness. You may feel tension. You may feel out of sorts, something's not right. A connection, a dynamic, something tapping into the nurturing energies of yourself. Either in career or friends, or the expectations of others in relation to some kind of traditional thing, cultural thing, or old contract like a friendship, or someone did something for you once, now you're expected to owe them or pay them back. Venus has been upgraded or growing, always. Moon's in this Venus section of Cancer, about to come into connection with Saturn. Saturn works with Venus to bring the fixed cross to life, essentially. Saturn also works with Mars. And we got that connection there. Mercury just came out of the transformation of Saturn, quincunx. Just came over the Libra point, which might be today. The node, south node experiences are transformed, new awareness. Or value change, self-value, in relation to the lessons or the experiences which brought your spirit to form through your life up to this point. Spirit evolution in relation to your Martian expressions, some kind of awareness. Maybe it's a righteous conviction, an understanding that you hold now in relation with others, or you're cultivating. And you bring that into experience through Scorpio. Setting the stage in the world and life so that the spirit of understanding for those feelings, things you've been working through, transforming in relationship, can be held as a cultivated belief, something you can bring your relationships forward through as an opposition to what all the experience and data and information and analysis tells you. How do you sift through all that, get to the truth of the matter, what actually matters most? How can you truly inform the spirit you're forming down here with a pioneering expression that can pull into this Aquarian energy? So what we're trying to balance. So when you look at these progressions, these dynamics, you can see how every sign is pivotal. Now if you want to break any system into any number with any belief structure, whatever, you can make it work. We're pretty magical beings. We're powerful. But since we already got a system like this, and it's already an API for other systems, other belief structures, logics, all that other stuff, it's like, why stick with what you got and just learn through it? You got the key at this point. So that's what I'm going to speak on right now. I'm just going to give this last imparting Venusian wisdom stuff that I've picked up. So let's look at the Leo perspective for a moment. Leo is my 10th house, now progressed 9th. It's my cultivation of emotional wisdom into passion and spirit, so that my mind, my air, can feed into something more pure and not possessed or polluted by external forces. It is the fire which stands or faces the winds of change. Which one burns the hardest, the hottest, the brightest is the one that stands. So it's like, that's kind of this truth that you put into what you do. And so your relations can and your information, your analysis, your all the stuff you're taking in through your experiences and sensing. How can you balance the shadows and all that with this flame, this balanced flame, fixed in all eternity, cast by Saturn here, fixed through Venus and Mars. Which is can be shown in Virgo with that service to self or service to others. To be possessed or possess. How do you balance your power in life? How do you actually create heaven without creating hell? How can you release and allow nature to be the empress, I guess? So here's the info. We've got that working quincunx in Capricorn with Pluto from Venus. We'll throw in Juno and Black Moon Lilith. So we're marrying the repressed anima within ourselves. I mean, you could say animus as well. It depends on your dynamics, I suppose. Because we all have these energies. So how has your spirit been fit into the form, the mold, the casting of relationship, specifically culture, society, epigenetic? How did that square into who you are, your true, authentic, individual nature? How did that dull or feed your fire? Did your ego get too big, or did it get damaged, or held back, constricted to the shadow realms? Now consider you are spirit and form. There's a soul. We can think or feel into it as an immortal link. The breath, the heart, the pulse, the heartbeat of existence. The soul may not be that, but it can represent that. And so it's tethered into reality through these experiences, these forces in creation. Energies are getting stirred up, spun up. Form is being created. The form is holding a resonance. The form is invoking consciousness. The consciousness is resonance with slower forming matter, and it's expressed. And somehow there's these seeds of creative spark potential that are floating through, and they're getting caught in this, and they're expressing, bringing soul into form for spirit to shine, to bloom, to take in awareness, existence. And in that process, the flower realizes it's a flower, and it judges it. It has to digest the negative and the positive of life and death. But it knows it's created something in its process. It's been part of something, and it's returning to wherever it came. So Neptune is spiritual awareness, essentially, and in Pisces, very strong retrograde symbology of the world is pulling something within you to form. see where you disconnect from this world, and how that's a reflection of a disconnect in your own awareness, progression of your psyche. Now your spirit is burning a little bit more clearly, and you can see distinctions. You can feel where the heat is not enough and where it's too much. So you're more balanced here. You aren't repressing what needs expressing, essentially. And that's a healing. You're working the healing energies of Neptune for yourself and others. So you're healing these spiritual repressions, maladies, which get mired here through these experiences, and they work out this tension. We're always bringing spirit to form. It's the working expression in Leo, in the final expression in Libra, which is self in relation to other. It's like, whose shadows are yours and whose shadows are someone else's. And it squares into you to bring your awareness to form. How do you flow, That's emotional intelligence. And that feeds back into held in the experiences, and the understanding that the world changes, you change. The river flows different in different places. Just got to stay on the boat here. So that helps all this, If you can break things down into like a specific aspect, you can allow that aspect to inform other aspects for you in relation. So we got this cardinal cross here. Moon, Pluto, South Node, North Node. That's kind of damn powerful. I didn't notice that. This could be intense in the world, let alone within your own life. So if this is a good day for you, a special day for you, you got a powerful, energetic you're carrying forward for the rest of the year, developing emotional intelligence. And that's the balance of the power of how to use your awareness. What's worth becoming less than, and what's worth becoming more than, You change, you're allowed to flow into the optimal expression of your existence. It's a spiritual year here for your self-realization. It is the cultivated awareness that you're bringing through clarity of mind and relationship to this world, because your self-concept is transforming. The work, the essential, or not the essential, it's just you plant this seed in the soil, this is what you get. Promethean perspective. And that's the kind of air that can feed into purity over here with Leo, Sag, and Aries. So cultivation, we're always cultivating. beautiful trine with Neptune and the moon. Hygeia, the sun, Pallas Athena, get the health on point. Watch what you consume. Liberate yourself from old beliefs. Maybe allow some form, some system, buy into some type of a system that has a essential spirit of growth in it. You don't have to kill yourself or do anything extreme. Yoga or something, that could be good. You are cultivating Mars here, where Mars is an expression of your cultivation. It's going to be leading the way here for a while. Strong in Scorpio. It's like fire water here with Mars in there. Gifts of the ancestors, or gifts of your past workings can be realized here when Mars comes into conjunction with Ceres and opposes Jupiter. Then we'll come into a working quincunx with Chiron, so I believe that will be a sense, maybe your physical frame might change a bit, might get better, or an awareness. Some kind of awareness peaks your a transformation, a realization up here in Gemini. Moon's always making aspects, informing us. So it's just easier to look at the natural progressions of the individual planets and then see how it relates to life. The next interaction between Venus and Mars will be in earth and water. It was in air and fire before. So there may be physical expressions of a sextile between Venus and Mars in the coming months here. Or, yeah, I suppose months. It's always moving. Weeks. Jupiter is birthing gnosis through the sun here. So if you follow what is a growing awareness within you, what's feeding your spirit, what feels right, and balanced, understanding the power you hold, how you limit yourself through your awareness, which experiences you relate with. Those dynamics hold you. The Mercury's coming up, catching up to the sun. That's the clarity of mind coming online. So you don't need to know specifics or anything, just know that there's phases of energy in life, experiences, things, dynamics which rise up, and they offer symbolic reference to these flows that are happening deep in the psyche, and they express through us in this world. That's Mercury speaking bringing the messages of the gods to your awareness. With Prometheus here, you know, it's all about cultivating gods, essentially. Now, Prometheus is said to be a titan. The pantheon of these myths, it's like they got hierarchy and different metrics and things. The myth is always representing something deeper, more ancient, you know. It's like this cardinal possession of fixed formations. Epigenetics are relation. So an awareness, building awareness impetus to find the green grass, to create what needs to be created, cultivate the value. That can tap into the purity of the spirit in relation to the change. Or something like that. I don't know. We'll go with that one. Alright, well, thanks for watching, listening, and being.